Hey everybody, it's time for Lancer. This is a downtime, heavily RP session. I did so much gay writing for this, just the gayest writing. Well, no, there's gayer writing. Fafner's been part of that, but it's still pretty gay writing. Excited. How is this gonna go? We're gonna do some roleplay. We're gonna chill. Then we're gonna do our downtime rolls and do more chilling, and then we'll end the session. Sound good?
Sweet.
Sounds good.
All right. So the first thing that everyone ready? We're good. Okay, yeah. So when we last left off, Quinn had sent all the Arathlands, but especially the Ashai, copies of the Matchmaker, so they could just print them out. And Hyrule printed one out immediately and was just excited, but she's gonna bide her time. But it's sitting there. She's like, I'm gonna slap that in my Mac. I'm gonna binge this thing. And then yeah, they all agreed to begin Elia with them, and they started the Elia, and I believe that's where we left off. Hyrule explains that first they're going to teach you some of their terms so that you understand what they're saying, and then they're going to tell you about themselves, and then they're going to field it over to you, and one of you will take a turn to tell them about yourself, and then they'll go back to them, back and forth, right? That's what she says, if that's okay with you. And Quinn's like, yeah, it's fine with me. It's probably fine with all of you, though I don't get to be the boss of that.
Sylvia just kind of nods. For character reasons, I am going to wait until after SA tells her story, by the way, to go. So.
Yeah, it's pronounced S. It's pronounced S, but yes. Cool. All right. Yeah. So
look, my high school Spanish is killing me here.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like the letter S. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah. Hyrule's like, yay. You're all in. That's cool. She's hype. So they begin. S will start. She says, Quinn's like, we can start the Elia, and I'm sorry if I, if I held things up. And S shrugs. She says, it's fine. I shall begin. Our lands were not always kind. Once they were edged lands, hostile lands, and we lived edged lives in conflict with the edged lands. But the first matriarch, Kovanen, saw a different way. Instead of trying to bend the edged lands to our uses, she guided us towards interacting with the edged lands on its terms, finding and cultivating food where it was, tilling land where it was suitable, setting traps more, and chasing prey through the wilds less. This is a form of pas with the land, and under her guidance, we expressed pas with the land for a long time. In time, the edged lands began to return our pas and frayed. That means it allowed itself to become gentle along with us. It learned to trust us and was convinced to be kind to us as we were kind to it. The edged lands became the gentle lands, and she actually smiles warmly and says, we're fraying here with you now. And Joanne speaks up, and he says, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go next, I'm going to tell you about Wero. Wero is what you would call non-binary, and they were... what was it you two called it? And he looks to Ash and Fario.
It's a ride or die friend.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a ride or die friend for many people. They sought out as many people as they could to ride or die for. Wero's way is being part of what we call the guided way. It's an act of both guiding and being guided towards being peaceful, kind, harmonious, loyal, things like that. We're driven to following guided ways because acting against the guided way is lost waying. And if you lost way too much, you become lost. And becoming lost is tragic. Aegons are lost. And they've abandoned Wero, but we haven't. And we're here to be Wero with you.
Aegons, having abandoned Alpeor, are truly lost, but they can be found. Jastasan.
And the other, that's the other Ashai utter the phrase back. And how
Jastasan is two sentiments. In saying this, I am saying that I believe it with all that I am that enough pas will get through to Aegons. Jost expresses a true belief that there is a potential for good in any person or situation.
And Joanne says, we expressed it about you.
And Dasan is a proclamation that I'll take a chance on that outcome. It's a declaration that you'll take a chance, period, and it can be spoken alone or coupled with many sentiments. But it's an oath that you'll take a chance. We descend with you.
Yeah, Essay says, and a payor is like virtue, except not exactly. We found that non-Ashai tend to be really absolutist about virtues and sins, and we're not like that. It's excess that's the problem, not the behavior itself. Too much virtue can begin harming you, and not enough sin can make you miserable, so you're allowed to sin in general from time to time.
Lucas, a bit of sin is nice from time to time, yeah.
I love to sin. S responds by like with a very amused yes. Joanne says that Agans are people who have given up. They're lost people who've abandoned the guided way, and they're utterly consumed by bloodlust and a thirst for revenge. There's only 75 of us left, so they believe it's already over for us, and they've given up trying. They just want to get their parting shots off at everything that they can convince themselves was responsible and go down fighting. A little bit of that is fine. We needed that kind of energy on Denhark during the genocide. And if we'd been a bit more Aegon and a bit less Wero, maybe there'd be more of us now.
Hyrule actually rests her hand on his shoulder and says, "Sometimes I feel such a way myself, cousin, but that's a lost way. We move forward."
They took our land, poisoned it with war. I don't even know where to start. And Quinn says, "Oh, you've already started." And they look to her and they kind of, chuckle themselves. And S says, "I see why Skuld called in this favor. Kovanen needs you. Tell her about this experience. Let her know I went from Crit to S." And Quinn says, "Okay, so Aegons have gone too far."
Yes, Aegons have gone too far. They're lost, but we'll find them.
Just a son, right?
Just a son.
Yeah.
So I guess it's introductions and story time for me.
Yeah.
My name is Hyrule. It's an honorific that means to resemble that which you desire, and I'm of the Jorah bloodline. There's 8 of us left, 9 counting Skald, who we adopted. I lost my partners in the war, and the girl declared Kovanen saved my life. I was Aegening into Arath, the permanently lost, because they are immune to pus.
It's pronounced Arath. I'm sorry. I'm so awful, but go hard. It's fine.
Sorry, excuse me. Is it Arath, not Arath?
Yeah, Arath. You're good. I'm so sorry.
That's how I know Please be consistent. That's how I know Aegons can be frayed, because it happened to me. I've been alone for a long time, and I've been thinking of trying romance again, but no offense, cousins, I haven't found the right person yet. But I'm optimistic. I want to rebuild. It's complicated, because I'm really only into women, but there's technology for that. I want the conflict to end so I can settle down and challenge people to races and raise a few ungrateful children with or without a partner.
And Joanne says, "None taken," about not finding the right person and it not being them.
My tale to you is of Seva, the 4th matriarch, and no, this is not me invoking Seva, cousins, merely teaching our new Kovanens this legend in turn. Seva led the people during a time of great hardships when crisis after crisis befell our people. First, a powerful storm caused the Larkspur River to flood, which swept away all our fish farms, damaged huge swaths of arable land, and demolished homes that had been built too close to the river, claiming the lives of a little over 30 people. Seva took charge and instructed, oversaw, and assisted in rebuilding and restocking our fish farms, recovering our farmland, and repairing our ruined homes while consoling the grieving, and leading multiple expeditions to find survivors, or at least recover bodies. Then a swarm of Wetas devoured too many of our crops, and our people began to bicker and argue. Seva took charge and mediated and resolved arguments and disputes while guiding our people by catching and eating the Weta. Then the Faram, people from the north, invaded us and killed many while seizing territory. Seva once again took charge, rallying and leading our people in a counter-assault that drove off the Faram, and then she once again consoled the grieving. This went on for 5 years, and it began to dawn on Seva that our people were relying on her leadership too much. She tried to train them in organization and leadership, but her efforts were resisted. And when she declared Jera, her request wasn't respected, and Jera called out our people and declared they needed to learn to walk on their own, for she'd stifled their growth, and she needed to leave because her need to leave was urgent. people were relying on her too much. And so she left. Seva is a declaration of needing to leave that doesn't need an explanation or acceptance from others. It can be invoked for yourself or for others. When it is invoked for someone else's sake, they can reject it. Seva is most commonly invoked when one's request for Jera has been ignored, or at moments of urgency so that they may leave when they need to. This story is about the kind of leader I wish to be in those times where I must lead. To walk beside Kovanen, not carry them. And to offer them a shoulder when they need one so they may learn to walk on their own along with me.
And they shy nod to her. And then it's a PC's turn, so who wants to go after that? Yeah, it's like they look at Quinn, and Quinn's like, can I like go last? It's what I've got is dramatic and big, and I need to compose my thoughts. And they like Kyra's like, yeah, sure, right? And
yeah, just answer that message I sent you.
Oh fuck. Okay. So they say who's next, and you say you. Got it.
Yeah, I will.
Oh,
I mean, I am
the general's name is Vedim. Vedim Riesling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it may not be obvious looking at me, but I am, with the exception of Isidore, I am one of the chronologically one of the oldest people here. I was born nearly 80 years ago. I did a lot of light speed travel, but back before I did that, before I got my commission and started piloting starships, and thus moved so far forward in time, I was just a kid. I had gotten my commission as a captain. I had not yet gotten the ship, and I was still on planet where I met my fiance Perahi, and her father was a rather dour man, and I did not understand at the time, but he was actually quite a savage and cruel general out in the field. I come to understand that while I was never privy to them or really involved in it, he did a lot of very terrible things. Jenner, was he involved in this?
Yes, he was on Dinhark when this happened.
And
well, it's not not so much on Dinhark, but like he was on the ship, like leading here. General Velius was actually the one who led the foray onto Dinhark, but Vadim was on the command ship above Dinhark, so he wasn't like on Dinhark, but he was the commander of the commander.
Yeah. So I've come to understand that you just said it. It slipped out of my brain.
His name is Vadim.
Vadim was actually one of the command staff on the ships that were above that planet while it was being attacked, which I cannot begin to say how just absolutely terrible that was. But that's the way that the military worked, was that when you were a part of it, you were trained not to really question the orders of your superiors, or to really look much further past your own post. So even if you weren't necessarily involved in these atrocities, that perhaps one would be complicit in them, just for the because they're part of that machine. And there are many people part of that machine, and there's no excuse. But I found, and I only lost my ship shortly before I started the Hex Girls, and just in the small amount of time since I've been outside of that entire system, I've really come to understand how just absolutely terrible it was, because it took that external position to really see it for what it was. And I guess I can call myself fortunate that I was just an explorer. I was not a military tactician or leader. I just commanded a ship that went out to look at planets and move on. But that doesn't excuse it, which is why I've been doing my best out here to help people who need help, instead of looking through and informing the will of some cruel and higher command in a very powerful machine. But beyond that, like with the amount of time that passed, like many of those things happened while I was traveling through space, and even beyond that, personally for me, I that passive time, like it is not remotely, close to the loss that your people have experienced, obviously, but leaving behind an entire, like, all the people I used to know are either old or gone at this point. My fiance, who I was unable to maintain contact with during my trip, she was supposed to come with me, but she was withheld from that, and I didn't understand that till later. She is now in her mid 70s, 60s to 70s. Apparently, I have a daughter that I did not. I only recently learned that happened because such things happen with the pass of time, and now in the very near future, I suppose I must contend with the ramifications of my past and what happened there, and ultimately, you can't run away from your legacy forever, I suppose. Bryn says he takes a drink contemplatively.
Yeah, they brought some pretty decent alcohol, so yeah, it's pretty good. Sorry, continue.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, and the ultimate thing is I suppose is that in any society, there's the good and the ill that happens, and even if I'm loath to say it, but even if the machine that I was a part of did terrible, just awful things to just many cultures, there's still people that are good, and there's still people who, if posed with a command to do something like that, they would step away for whatever reason, whatever ramifications would bring on them. And I try to remember that as I go about, because like the people we work with, they are good. They're not good people that pay us to do things, and I try not to take those jobs and do those bad things. I intend to not do any war crimes in my life if I can help it. I say as I look directly at the GM.
I would never make you do a war crime. War criming is a choice. Do you continue?
I suppose so. And ultimately, that those generals that did these things, I don't think I would have kind words for them or kind actions if I ever came across them in the future. Bryn is thinking also as she thinks about that party he has to go to in like a week.
Yeah. During this entire, is Bryn's story over? Is that the end or?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay.
He's telling about stuff.
Yeah, that shine on. Like Quinn looks uncomfortable as you talk about her dad and talk about this stuff, and Hyrule will speak up first and tell you that whether or not you were a commander then, you're definitely a commander now. Right? You're leading your people. These people are people, and she's like, I game recognizes game. She says like in that kind of like cheeky way. She's picked up that from somewhere. And Joanne says that he does know that Deliverance is quite ruthless and cruel and aggressive. He's aware of their reputation, and they that since they're part of Deliverance, they've done some things. They've gone to these worlds. That's how they got that Napoleon for you, right? But he kind of looks sullen and he says he's almost feels like maybe that viciousness was necessary, that Deliverance's nastiness was a necessary evil. Evil, nonetheless, but a necessary evil. His voice sounds kind of haunted as he says that you just don't understand just how horrific our enemies were to us and what they did to us and what they unleashed upon us. And he kind of looks away and like rubs at the scar on his arm, and it's just like sometimes it still burns. Anyway. My common name is Joanne. I'm of the Frolius bloodline, and there's 15 of us left. S is my partner, but we're just Velt. I'm working on it, she isn't. And S snorts and says, I don't have to work on it. And I'm gonna keep pausing, and it's gonna get really awkward. I do respect your reservations, though. I know it's a lot. And it sighs. I just don't see a point to it anymore. We don't even have a homeland. Hyrule wants to start again, but start where? I want the Gentle Lands back. I don't think I'd be happy anywhere else. I'm only not a Roth, because I know what it'd do to you. You refuse to be driven away, so here we are. Yeah, you're enjoying it. I am, but I don't like it. I'm gonna get us to a place where we can all like it. It looks back to you. I was young in the war. I'm only 29 now. I needed guidance, and Skuld guided me. That's how I wound up in this group with these people. That's why I'm at S. I feel like I owe Skuld everything. Oh, what's the price of a life? I'll never be able to pay her back. But I'll do this favor for her. Whatever she sent you all here for, I'll do what I can to get it for you. I'm going to tell you the story of Ashai. Ashai means people who desire to be known, and it's our word for our people. Ashai can be used as a term to convey pursuit of making oneself known in general, though it's rare we use it that way because most of us are too deeply fear us using the term in such a way because it would lend our far too many enemies that insight into us. If we keep equating seeking out being known with Ashai, our enemies will abuse that insight as they already did before. Ashai wasn't a person's name or a location or anything like that. It was a term our people invented together and agreed to use amongst ourselves, for ourselves. We do that, you just invent these personal terms or references with each other that only a handful of people know. But this is perhaps not exclusive to us, and I have definitely witnessed this many times among non-Ashai. In fact, I believe we are witnessing it now, as you call yourselves Hex Girls, but unless I'm mistaken, you are not all girls? And my understanding of hexes, as I've been acquainted with the use of that word by non-Ashai, is that they're not exactly a good thing. They are, for lack of a better word, a curse?
Would you like me to answer that?
Yeah. Go ahead. He's really excited. Yes, please.
Well, so as a military man, our tactical maps were often laid out in. I just draw on like in the dirt with a stick in these hex grids, and we use it as to lay out tactical like areas of a battlefield and to move around our units. It's how I tactically view the battlefield from my business command and wherever it goes. It's what helps you organize everything.
Wait,
so he actually looks at Rin and goes, "So wait, we're not named after a band?"
And I thought that we were doing witchcraft eventually.
It's a double entendre. It can mean multiple things.
Oh. It's really just like Sylvia is just genuinely like really in shock. Like my life has been upended.
Like Joanne laughs at that because like they get it. Like they Joanne nods us to see how like our words can mean multiple things as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The day you found out what the Hex Girls were named after was the most important day of your life. But for Ren, it was Tuesday.
No, they're excited. We do hexes too, but they do the hexes that I put on the map originally that freaked you out because they were wrong. And the not H hex, the VA hex. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yours going the other direction.
Yeah. No, but we'll use yours from now on. We like yours better too. So go ahead. You're gonna say something.
I like how Alice said what she said in her natural.
Oh no, look, it's gone.
So
There you go.
Alice in real life is upset, and not Lyra. It's just Alice who's mad that we're not doing magic.
I mean, you can
I was looking forward to it. Like I had all the components.
I'm not gonna stop you from doing that. It's fine.
I had prepared the sacrifices and everything.
What?
It was very difficult. It took a lot of work.
Quinn,
Where are they on the ship?
Yeah, Quinn chirps up and says, witches hexed the moon once back in 2020.
I know. It's just one of the only good things about Old Earth. Goddamn moons.
And then Quinn
just like continues to shake her head, and everyone else calls it Old Earth. She's just like,
Quinn looks at you, Sylvia. Quinn looks at you, Sylvia, and says, "Don't tell Kova that. Promise me, you will not tell Kova that witches hex the moon."
Why would I tell?
Just don't. Just okay. Good. Thank you.
I'm not telling her anything.
Good. Joanne laughs and he says, well, regardless, I had my context for what Hex meant, so I felt a kinship with you all immediately upon learning the name you have for yourselves, for we call ourselves the Arathlands. And as I think you've learned, Arath isn't exactly what most of us would view as a blessing, because it's, losing yourself completely in that bloodlust that we call Aegon. But like most, if not all things with us, nothing is absolute. And so, with my context by Hex, as you've now shown me, it's no more completely bad than Arath. It is excessiveness, again, and losing yourself in it, that approximates the closest one can get to wholly bad. Oh, and we don't have a word for non-Ashai, because anybody can become us if they desire to and put in the effort. Non-Ashai may just be a term for people who aren't Ashai, and I would say not yet Ashai, but that may pressure you, or convey a sentiment that being Ashai is a good thing. Well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but being Ashai is a good thing for me, and y'all are free to decide for yourselves what is good for you. Regardless, this is a story about the importance of the bonds we make together and how precious they are. As people get to know one another better, they can only grow closer. So hold on to your Ashai covenants. And they look to the next PC who wants to follow that up. So between, because Sylvia wants to go, after S. Who comes next? Just so we're clear. So Sylvia's after this. So I guess process of elimination is kind of you, Isadora. Is it you're up?
Isadora or Lyra? Yeah.
Yeah, Isadora or Lyra.
Lyra would probably go first.
Yeah.
She's usually the talkative type.
Alice, it's on you. You've been elected.
Okay, I can go. My people, the Great Clans, have wandered the frontiers of what you call civilized space for a long time. We do not know exactly how long, but we know that the first of us came from Old Earth. He left what others called the First Committee, fleeing a life confined in virtual realities with nothing left to strive for, and nothing to live for, and nothing to believe in, but diminishing pleasures. We live on great home ships, migratory, learning to fight from a young age. By 8, you have trained with blades and bludgeons, guns by 10, mechs by 14. But we do not live to fight. We just know that it is inevitable among the stars, that there will be conflict.
The Ashai are just nodding along in agreement, like, yep, this checks. Continue, sorry.
We settle our conflicts in duels and contests, and we have bonded settlements who depend upon us for protection. They give us the fruits of their labor, and we give them the fruits of ours. And we all raised to see each other as a family. Every clan girl like myself has 1,000 virtual cousins, all deadly as can be, all as generous as can be. We do not want for food or shelter or company, because the clan is a family and it will take care of its own, or at least it is supposed to. You live guided by passion and the fulfillment of your oaths to your clan and the obligations of your clan. My clan is Clan Wolf, and my sept was Wolfson. We were an old branch of the clan. We had rich traditions, a battlefield and on and off, and our stories were legends. You see, my ancestors were heroes. But before I was born, around the time I was going to be born, our clan was not well. Times were difficult. Out in the darkness, the Reaver fleets move. You may have heard of them. Maybe you have not. I do not know how things go in the Softlands. But the Reavers devour and leave nothing behind. They cannot be reasoned with, and they cannot be bargained with. Nothing can talk to them. They only know death.
Her eyes glint as you say this. You're speaking of something that all of them, Hyra looks a little unnerved as you talk about this. But the other two Ashai, S and Joanne, they perk up at this, and S particularly leans forward. You're speaking of something she seems intimately familiar with. Go on.
The Reaver only lives to devour everything. It does not fight because it believes. It does not fight because it has to. It fights because it is a machine. No one has ever seen a Reaver. because they destroy themselves for the sole purpose of maybe taking you with them. The only thing that can bring the clans into total alignment is the Reaver fleet coming over one of our worlds, which we defend. And this happened. Clan Wolf was protecting a world from a Reaver fleet. It is a time where all conflict between warriors will cease. To even mention a grudge is borders upon the sacrilegious. To challenge one another at such a time is a sin beyond all sins. It would be.
She kind of struggles for a bit just to like figure out how to say this.
It is not just something that you do not do. It is something that you should not be able to do. That doing would be so horrible, so horrifying, that not even a coward could do it. Woolston warriors stood ready to relieve our brothers and sisters before the mindless beasts. But at the critical moment, when we were called for, snaps her fingers, their mechs failed. All of them. All at once. A single moment. They would not respond. They closed down. Nothing would move. Many died. Civilians in our care died. Many of them. They were devoured. Like crops before clouds of locusts.
Hyrule is getting increasingly spooked, but do keep going. She's spooked.
Without our guns, the Reavers broke through our lines, and as the clan fled in disarray, that world was consumed in a matter of a day. We could not save even half of them. They pulled my septmates out, including my mother and father, and they put them on trial, for this had never happened before. They said that they were cowards and that they had run. The warriors of Woolston warriors said no, that their mechs had been sabotaged, and no one believed them, even when they brought evidence of it. Because who would have done such a thing? Who could imagine whatever would be done? She's like struggling to like really communicate how bad this is.
They look to each other like the two Hyrule and Joanne look to S, and S like kind of gives them a nod, but like she then looks back to you, and Hyrule's like squirming. She looks really squeamish.
But someone did. They found evidence. They presented it, but no one cared. No one believed them. It was too late. Our sept was scattered, broken. Hundreds of us sent into exile in tiny groups. My parents were sent to a little world. They raised me in their old ways, even though they were not supposed to by the law of our people. And so I carried them with me. Even when our family was destroyed, and I alone escaped the burning of my home, when pirates destroyed our mines with firebombs meant to flush us out into the bright sun.
S and Joanne like wince at that. Like S has burns on her face, so she actually touches the burn on her face. Like they know about being burned. Is the joke that Fefner made last session, that they know about that kind of fire.
I alone lived because at the time I was 16, and I happened to be training in a mining mech, and I killed as many as I could, which was a lot, but not all of them. And they got what they came for, and they left, and I was all alone. And when my clan came for me many years later, having heard I was piloting again, that I was a warrior despite the laws, and they tested me. They came with the son of those who had put my family in such a place. And I was ready to die by his blade or for him to die by mine. But neither of us died because he outed himself. And they took him away defeated. and my name, Wolston, lives again. I have a family name again, for I did not before, not really. But I am the only one, and they told me this very clearly. They looked. They looked very hard. Every single one of them is gone. They would not face the challenge to return, or they could not anymore, or they are dead. A lot of them are dead. I am a family of one, and there may not ever be any more. But it is better, I think, because at least there is one of us again. And she just sort of sits down.
That really impacts them. Like that really touches them, and they like Hyrule has this haunted look, and she holds up a hand. S starts to speak. Sorry, and Hyrule speaks first, and she says, "As far again, this happens on your terms, but as far as I am concerned, as far as we in the Eshai nod, we are concerned. Your family with us, should you desire it, Lyra. But beyond that." To unite our scattered people against a common enemy, that is something I desire. And she leans back and she looks to S, and S nods, and suddenly S gets very, very intense. And she says, "We know your Reavers, for we can all become them. Perhaps yours are slightly different. As your story suggested, they are satiable. I know different. Once one sinks that far, they are insatiable. But perhaps it is not so much that your Reavers were satiated, but that they got what they wanted, but that they hungered for more than what you could provide and moved on. S is my common name now, and I am currently of the Sayer bloodline. There's 10 of us left, but soon there will be 9. For I'm planning on getting my name devoured and going full Arath. I'm pretty much done with everything, and the only reason I haven't acted yet is I know I'll hurt too many people if I pop off as I currently am. I'm going to sever all my attachments so I can just burn up in space somewhere, and as you can see, it's going really well for me. I have lost everything in that war, and I'm only alive because of lowercase k Kovanen. And I'll be honest, I kind of resent it. Now I carry this burden of the future on me. But capital K Kovanen started turning the tide of the war, and I naturally followed the flow. And that's how I wound up here with these dumbasses! Kovanen is inspiring. She lives up to her name, and it's hard, too. And
Hyrule speaks up. Careful.
All right. It's hard to not be Kovanen with Kovanen. It's weird to be over a decade older than someone you admire. I don't want to let her down, but I have no idea what she wants or how to get her what she wants. I know I can't get what I want, which is our land back and our people not murdered, which is why I'm of the mind to pick option B, which is revenge. I shall tell you the tale of Arath. Arath is a term among the Eshai that all people, not just the Eshai, understand, even if they are not aware of it. We are all either are or already intimately familiar with Arath or can become so. Do not forget that. Non-Eshai often use terms like monstrous or beastly or reaver, but that conveys an incomplete understanding of Arath, for there's nothing monstrous or beastly about Arath. Arath is uniquely human. To dehumanize Arath is a comfort, perhaps, that one may lend oneself that false assurance that such things are not something a person could ever do, let alone become, that one could never sink to those levels, because such depravity is relegated only to the non-human, to beasts and monsters. But no beast or monster does it quite like us. None even approach the obscene scale we do, nor do so as gleefully. Apes may go out and terrorize one another and make each other's lives miserable, but they do not spend years researching how to near perfectly torture somebody for eternity without crossing that line into permitting them the mercy of death. Arath is that uniquely, exclusively human capacity to be cruel, to inflict harm and suffering, and to get a thrill out of it. Arath is an utter absence of empathy, It is human, but it is anything but humane. And Joanne clears his throat awkwardly. But again, nothing is perfect. We all hurt other creatures, the world, other people, ourselves, egregiously sometimes. The occasional descent into wrath will not condemn somebody. It is only becoming excessive with it that makes one lost. Humph.
I think Bryn drains his drink after hearing that.
Yeah.
'Cause he's thinking real hard right now.
My lesson is to become honest about who you could always become.
When she looks back toward the Hex Girls, Sylvia, who has been kind of laying on the ground and for once outside her hard suit, which means her legs aren't fully mobile right now, actually looks to Lyra and she says, "Can you help me stand up?"
Yeah, Lyra will help her stand up.
Bryn will
Okay.
also
Yeah.
prop you up there.
Yep.
Quinn starts to stand to help, but you've already got it covered. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sylvia looks at the Ashai for a little bit, and then she looks at Lyra, and she looks at Bryn and Isadora, and then finally at Quinn. And then she keeps her eyes fixed on S, and she keeps her eyes very fixed on S during the entire time she tells her story.
Mm-hmm.
Says, of all the people you could have told that story to, I'm glad I'm the one who heard it. I've got a story I think you should hear too. So I'm going to tell mine now. I don't think I've told anyone here that much about where I'm from. The truth is, I don't have a lot of great memories of it. And I don't talk about this much, but I grew up in space. I grew up on a station in Overture space that was mostly populated from folks who made a long journey from a place far away from what we call Cradle, what Lyra calls Old Earth.
What we basically all call Old Earth, yeah?
Yeah, Sylvia is like the only one at this point in the group who calls it Cradle. Aside from, I think, Isadora.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, we came here from a place called the Long Rim. I don't know much about it. I know it's a bad place. And that's all I really have to say. Where I grew up, there were no restrictions on what you could do with money. You could buy or sell a life in a heartbeat. You could buy it in pieces, even, in time or in body parts. It's just a fact of existence. But I had a pretty good life for a while. I had friends, I had crushes, I grew up. I was almost 17 when my father's brother, my uncle, made a risky investment that left him with enough debt for his life to be claimed entirely by cruel people. And by the time they came to collect on that, he had killed himself out of fright. But he'd co-signed because he didn't have enough money to get into that investment in the first place. And he co-signed with my name. I was just old enough for them to do, for him to get away.
The Shy like murmur to each other, and they say that like what a Keela, like they're like, oh, what a bad faith trade, what a Utah. They just defame him, but then they look back to you.
So I didn't know how long, honestly. For all I knew, it was my whole life. But they collected me. They came with guns. My mother and father didn't even try to stop them. I've never forgiven them for that. It's part of why I never bothered to even try going home. And I was taken and my body was used in ways I could neither accept or consent to. And things were built using me that I had no control over. These things I could not change.
Okay, so Hyrule's getting especially
Those
angry at your
choices-
story. Sorry for interrupting. Like Hyrule's now leaning forward. Like now she is especially angry at your story, and she's rubbing at her prosthetic leg as you talk. Sorry, continue.
These things I could not change, and those things I could not stop. But what I did choose to do was survive by any means necessary. Everyone else here has killed people who have done them wrong in some way. Maybe one or two exceptions. I don't know that everyone else here has killed, but I know this. I may be the only person here tonight who's killed someone who was their friend to survive.
S says you're not.
And not someone who was their friend who had betrayed them, not someone who was their friend who'd made any decision. It was simply a matter of we were given a way out. We were told, if you fight and push these chassis, these mechs, as to their limits, we will accelerate your departure from this program. I took it up. 2 other subjects took it up. And we fought in the hot sun until our reactors had been stressed far beyond the heat capacity of anything. These were Everests that had had no maintenance done on them in months, probably years. Barely maintained. None of us were qualified to do the kind of complex field engineering that would have been required to stabilize them at that point. Heat was bleeding in a way that was uncontrollable, and it was obvious what they really wanted us to do. They wanted to push us as far as they could to see who would go Nova first. What was the stress limit? Someone piloting a chassis with their proprietary technology. How far could that go? So there we were. There were 3 of us, and we knew one of us was going to die. Probably 2 of us. Almost certainly all 3 of us. I made the choice. I want to say that I asked in the moments before I took their lives. I want to say I at least asked them to forgive me, but to be honest, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what they said to me. All I remember was thinking to myself, I'll be damned if I die here over this. And I threw down my rifle, which at that point was useless from firing. I burned the barrel of it out. And I grabbed whatever I could and I shoved it through their cockpits. And a few months ago, I took the axe sitting in my hard suit over there, and I left it in a man's brain. I want to say I left it there for them. I want to say I left it there for all of the people who were put through that. But the truth is, I didn't do it for them. I did it for me. I did not want to become this. I did not ask to be this. I was put into a point where I felt I had no other choice but to kill. And to be honest with you, at the other end of that tunnel, when you've gotten your revenge, you have nothing. I'm happy I got that junk out of my back, but I am not happy about the lives I've taken. Because they didn't buy me any more sleep than I had already lost. Y'all can set me down now. I'm done. And with that, she kind of like slumps back against Lyra and Ring.
Yeah. Hyrule looks especially moved by that. When S was talking, Hyrule looked extremely uncomfortable, right? But when you were talking, she almost looked eager to hear what you had to say. And she speaks first, and she says, they tried to twist you and change you into a wrath. And that you...
That
change,
would be your word for it, I suppose, yeah.
Changing yourself is something you should decide how that goes. I sure did. This is an atrocity. That alone is an Arath thing to us. This should not have happened to you. That you found a way to stop, that is... I needed to hear that. We needed to hear that. S looks a little skeptical, but she's so moved by your words that it's like, no, you're here. Like, there's no reason you would lie about this. Like, first she wants to test you, but your visible exhaustion, she knows. You cannot be not, like, lying about this. So even she is, like, begrudgingly like, no, maybe there is a chance that they can get through to these entities that they think can't be affected by this thing they call Paz. Because you were able to put down the gun. It's something that actually S says is, once you pick up that sword, that gun, whatever you want to call it, and you start swinging it, you quickly get consumed by the thrill of it, and how righteous and good it feels. Having the strength to put it back down again, I don't know. I don't know if all of us do.
Sylvia looks at her and she says, you know, for the first hit, it felt righteous. And then I felt tired as hell.
Yeah, she nods in understanding, and she's like, I just didn't... I felt tired, but I couldn't stop.
There's always a way to stop.
She grunts and she...
For instance...
She's here, right? So she's like, she knows, but like, she's not happy about how she had to stop. That's like that. You could get that read from her, right? Like, she's not so happy about what made her stop. But back to you, sorry.
Yeah, Sylvia just kind of like leans back against where she was sitting before and goes, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. You've suffered way more than I will, honestly. And I don't want to play games about whose life has been worse, but I will say this. Take revenge. It sounds like these people deserve it. And I'm going to be the last person to tell you that you need to let people live out of some high-minded thing, but you can't do that alone. The only regret I have in that kill, to be honest with you, it's not that I don't think that guy deserved it, it's that I refused to do it with help. That I decided to take that on my own. I should have told my friends, because even if they had questioned my decision, I know they would have been there for me.
I would imagine that your regret would have been that someone knew you did it, and they tried to track you down.
That's an out of character laugh. And Quinn is just listening to this like with a contemplative look on her face. S nods and says, "Yeah, we they're not stopping. We can't just sit back and take it."
I would say, Brim would say, well, you must also remember too that civil dual culture hinges on the fact that you're fighting a civil person.
Right, yeah.
Civil dual culture's fucking stupid. And Sylvia actually says that in character. She's like, it's a way for people to have petty wars for no reason and pretend that they're not risking anyone's lives.
Yep. The S agrees, and the person who hasn't spoken yet, Ash, is nodding in agreement with you.
I'm all for being able to eject from mech and not get killed, but
you don't need laws for that.
Yeah. Nah, it's just like you can play basketball with dogs. It's fine. This is Hyrule trying to like trying to break the tension, right? It's getting a little tense here. She's a little awkward.
Somebody just like goes like, anyway, wasn't one of y'all starting to share a story or something? I am
Yeah.
feeling it right now. Can someone pass me a drink?
Yeah, Ash will speak up. Yep.
Yeah.
Isidore tosses a beer.
Yeah. Hyrule
My
actually
turn.
like pulls out some hard moonshine that she made and starts passing out the good shit.
Oh,
Quinn
can you
doesn't
give me
get
that,
any.
please?
Yeah, Quinn does not get any. She's baby. But yeah, go ahead, Ash.
I think she goes for it, but Bryn like takes it from her.
Yeah.
None for you.
You can have the pog juice.
All right. My turn, I guess. So, speaking of Arath, I'm not a shy, but I'm a participant in this Alia too. Originally, I'm from a world that's in the Common Front. I defected because they jailed my family for breaking some dumb fucking law. I'm not even gonna get into it because it's that fucking dumb. I joined Deliverance originally because they hated the Common Front almost as much as I do. At least that's what they told me when I signed the papers. First, I was all in on Deliverance, but then I ran into Velius.
You have
Velius,
to
but
sign
yeah.
papers.
Sometimes, yeah.
I feel I thought it was a little more casual.
See, I expected it to be that way, but like, I don't know, man. It was a while ago. Velius had this like enigmatic way about him, though. Like, he really believed in what Deliverance pretends it believes in. I don't care about Deliverance believed. I don't really care what they believed in back in the day, and then I just really wanted to kill Fronters. But Velius told me there was more to fighting than revenge. He told me fighting for a kinder, more equitable, a truly just galaxy would fulfill me more than a billion dead Fronters. He said anyone can be Kovanen. I wasn't convinced at the time, but over the course of our association, he kind of proved it. He personally took me under his arm and he tempered my rage. I found that doing kind things for real people. I found that doing kind things for people and making them happy was more fulfilling than striking down fronters most of the time. Velius was like a father to me. Eventually, while working for him to set up a community garden and food pantry on the planet Gaine, I ran into Ferio here, and he brought me into a certain cause. And now I'm here.
S scowls a little bit and says, "No, you weren't a wrath. Ash, you were just Egging towards a wrath, perhaps, but not a wrath. That is why Velius's pus got through to you. Arath is unfazed by pus, and often rejects it in the form of lashing out at it. That Velius remained alive after your initial encounter with him is proof alone that you were not a wrath."
I guess I'm going to tell you of Velius. May he rest in peace. Velius was a Susurar. They're like ram lion people. And they're people, just like we're people. I don't know if they've always been ram lions or if they like genetically augmented themselves to look like ram lions forever ago, but it's not really important. Susurar want to be this, and usually it's not hurting anyone else any more than us humans being like us is hurting anybody. So just looking at a human person normally isn't an injurious thing to anybody. Looking like a ram lion person's the same in that regard as far as I'm concerned. Though I wouldn't be surprised if some people who've met us or the Susurar or anybody really, on less friendly terms, may have some trauma about what their injuries looked like alongside what they did. Anyway, Velius was a big, burly ram lion guy with a rust red coat and a black mane and ram horns, big old ram face. He was strong, and he was gregarious, and he was passionate, and he is also a bit too easy to trust. That's what excessive virtue becoming a sin thing y'all talk about. That's what that looks like, right?
Yeah, Essent nods and says, "Yeah."
There you go. Since we couldn't trust him not to blab because he trusts literally anybody, he could never be one of us or even know about us. He could never join me fully in my certain cause. I couldn't be fully comrades with him, and it hurts. It hurts to have had this man I admired, who I saw as a father figure, unable to be a part of what we were doing simply because he was literally too empathetic. Especially when empathy is what he taught me to value in the first place. I guess my story is a lesson in pursuing enough. Be good enough, but don't get caught up in being too good. Be a little wicked at times, but not too wicked. That's the nature of Peor, right?
And that's Shy Nod. And now, so now Isadora, it's you. You can escape this no further. You must tell us your backstory.
Yeah, so everybody looks at Isadora. Isadora's like, ah, yes. Quinn claimed last, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very well.
Go on, Mom.
My name is Isadora Allo. Let's see, that is the common name.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose Nova would be my assumed name, but I don't particularly use it. And then, my apology, I'm still getting used to the terms. Isadora is also a chosen name, I suppose.
Mm.
Kind of wish I'd gone first. I don't really have much in the ways of stories. I grew up in Cradle, and my life was more or less normal.
Some people actually like perk up when you say Cradle and goes, see, she says it too. I'm insane.
The shy laugh and they say, we will start calling it Cradle. We'll join you in being rare.
Well, to be fair, there's a difference between Cradle and Old Earth, but, well, that's its own story, I suppose. I guess if I'm trying to think of anything that would make for much of a good story, I have to look at my piloting days, on my way to Overture, as it were. I took quite a few jobs. One of them was particularly interesting. There's this flower. It grows on a planet in, oh shoot, what was it? The Altai line, I want to say? It's a reasonable way away from Cradle, of course, and the Sol system. But nevertheless, the flower was speculated to be able to cure hypothermia, of all things. Of course, that was just conjecture, and the flower itself hadn't been properly discovered, so that's what my employer wanted to do. Of course, when we got there, I was only a pilot, and he was just one man, as was another man who had come to the planet to find the flower. While we did discover it, neither of them felt like splitting the glory. They wanted to be the ones whose names were recorded. Things only got worse. Things only got worse as there were thirds, fourths, fifths, so many. It to say the local population hated them would be an understatement because their petty squabbles were non-stop. I was chosen as a neutral third party to ensure that the flower didn't fall into any one particular person's hands, because I was not even a glory-seeking mercenary, I'm just a pilot. Truth be told, much of my time was spent reading and doing my best not to pay attention to the mess that had become, because I could still hear the pertinent information even if I tried to stick my head in the sand. But eventually, my employer had the wise idea to attempt to take a steel pipe to the back of someone's head. Said person had a gun, and, well, At that point, I didn't have a contract, so I took the flowers and left.
They cheer for
Very
that,
up-
like hell yeah. Hyrule's like claps you on the back like that. They're delighted that you fucking stole shit. Do continue.
Of course, they had placed the flower in a vault. I was all too happy as I left to open it and spread the petals to the wind because the other activity I partook in while I was on that planet was to find and cultivate more of them. And I did. I don't know who got the credit for it. Whatever scientists worked on it, I suppose. I delivered to them, and, well, I haven't been back to that line since I kept going farther, but one can only hope that the research has gone well. They promised not to seek glory in the same ways the previous attempted. There are no kind words for them.
We call them
Their
Hutas.
respects.
That's what
Indeed.
S speaks up. We call them Hutas. Like she snaps it. But yeah, continue.
Those Hutas, yes.
Hyrule's delighted you used their words. She howls and slaps her leg. Sorry,
Their
continue.
mistakes were not to be repeated. And that's it, I suppose. Perhaps one of the more obnoxious weeks I've ever spent in my life, and very certainly one of my worst employers.
It looks like you got a better employer now, says Joanne with like a smile. And Quinn actually pipes up and says, "Oh, no. We're not his employees. And we're team. We're comrades. And I mean, yeah, he gives us money, but it's it's not like that. He's not trying to own us.
None of you signed W-2s.
Yeah.
This is not a tax thing.
Yeah.
It's not the thing that you have made me sign.
Yeah, Quinn's just, Dad, don't joke. They're gonna take you seriously. You're gonna think that you're trying to own us. He doesn't own us. We kind of own ourselves and we own each other. It's really cool, actually. And she gets like really quiet. And they shy not.
Goes like, so Sylvia looks at Quinn and just goes like, so you finally admit that someone owned you owned your video games the other night.
She laughs and like throws something at you.
This is another word that means multiple things.
Yep. Like, and Hyrule's like, what? Like, you've lost like Hyrule a little bit. She's like really excited. Like, how did like is it's a bad thing? Because like for them like that's brow owning somebody is brow. Like she's like, is this a brow thing? And then like S has to explain what she means by brow, that like it's like an ownership of property and you don't do that to people. And Quinn's like, I mean it's rude, but no. And I was not owned.
In this case,
I've never been owned.
Show someone up.
I've never been owned. I'm not owned. She shrinks into a corn cob.
She has in fact been owned. I know Lyra's owned her multiple times.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm really only leader because I'm the one that started the organization. That's really it.
Hyrule's like gives you a sympathetic nod, like, "Yep, we are in the same boat. We just got relegated to be the leader here."
That's not Hey, to be fair, that's not true, Bryn. You're the leader because none of the rest of us would ever even try to say that. I think the only reason we stayed together as long as we did at the start is that you were the one actually in charge of running the organization.
Yeah, Quinn not to say
the rest of us, we all would have stayed in our rooms and failed.
Yeah,
I'm nothing if not a bureaucrat, I guess.
Yeah, Quinn nods and says, I mean, I tried to say it, but like nobody listened because I was awful then.
When you're 16. That's the real reason no one listened.
Hyrule chuckles, and she's just so like she's like, so that's an S thing that you did. We already told you the story, right? This S, please don't fuck around with that name S, by the way. Told you about Keela stealing fire, trying to keep it for herself. Those fuckers were being Keela with that flower, and you S'd it back. It's cool. It's a shy kind of thing. I guess it's not exclusively a thing. Our thing. You did it. Stealing's cool, actually.
Well, I suppose technically it wasn't theft. Nobody discovered it yet.
Well, you told us, but our lips are sealed. We're in on the scam now. We're in on the con now. Let's steal more shit.
Stealing shit does sound fun.
Then they kind of
Generally,
like
you call it liberating in order to get people on your side.
Quinn says Deliverance has really fucked up that word though, haven't they? And there's like a weird like a cut the tone a little muddy, and Harold's like,
you know what?
damn it, we worked so hard.
Words can involve with things. They don't got monopoly on it.
Yeah, Harold agrees with you. Yeah, fuck them. Then it's just like, but don't let them know I said fuck them, because you know they saved our lives and we owe them, and she's just not happy about it. Ash like nudges Pharaoh and says, "Come on, you're part of this too."
I guess I'm next. I've basically always been a part of that certain cause, yes. Deliverance came to my planet to liberate it, and Scald was one of the liberators, so I never joined Deliverance proper. I joined the crew she runs with instead. I was trying to help the people of the Riss Valley when that shit went down. I don't want another Ashai genocide to happen to anyone else. It shouldn't have happened to the Ashai either. No. After my performance on Rutao, I was promoted and assigned to this unit. Why?
He grimaces.
Because I'm very good at what I do. Yes. So good that Deliverance thinks I'm loyal to them. And my orders from Deliverance are to spy on this crew. But I'm not, and this crew knows it. I'm the oldest one of us here at 38, but it doesn't feel it. Our Ashai comrades have lived 100 lifetimes.
Hey, you've got a year on me. It counts, says Hyrule.
I'm technically 90.
Fuck.
I think it's
Yeah,
older than I am.
Hyrule smirks a little.
Ferio pulls out a notepad and starts scratching lines out.
I think you're a little bit older than me in actual live time, though. Maybe a year or two.
Yeah, I'm only in my mid-30s, so...
Late 20s.
I think I'll tell you about Scald. Now, my planet and her planet were one of the earlier planets liberated.
He makes air quotes.
In their so-called righteous crusade.
More air quotes.
Galaxy.
Yep.
Her planet, Nim, before mine. But Scald was there when my planet was liberated, and we fought alongside each other. Scald kept me alive, I kept her alive. She saved my life a dozen times over, and I hers, yes. We grew very close from that, and as such, she told me her story, and while I do trust you, comrades, I think I'll gloss over it for now. The short version is Nimish and the Ashai have some things in common, and one of those things is that they seek closeness and are very close with one another. To betray the Nimish is to abandon or forsake being Nimish. You are exiled if you step too far out of line, and the rest of your former people will have nothing to do with you. No.
Yeah, Joanne chimes up and says, yeah, that's Huda. Sad that they understand it. And S says necessary that they understand it.
Keeping your people safe, however, is noble. It's easy to do the right thing when everyone's singing your praises, but in my opinion, it's the people who do the right thing even when they're scorned and held in contempt, even when it costs them everything, that really show their true colors, yes. Scald joined up with our certain cause immediately, and since our certain cause can't be risked or exposed, she can't tell her people about it. On the surface, she looks loyal to Deliverance, just like I do. She looks like she chose them over her people. And after what Deliverance attempted to do to the Nimish, continuing to appear to stick with Deliverance was a massive betrayal that got her immediately exiled. But Scald isn't just trying to protect her people. She's trying to protect everyone in the galaxy from Deliverance. She had a life, a wife, a family, and a position of prestige in her community. She was comfortable financially, too. She gave all that up. This is no longer her beautiful wife. Sacrificed it without hesitation. And now she spends the bulk of her time. That's in character. You can't take that back. Dario said that, and when you just start fucking howling.
Damn it.
Oh, I know this one. It is his song.
Now she spends the bulk of her time traveling the furthest reaches of the galaxy, acting as a spy for Deliverance while actually pursuing our certain cause in the ship she and her wife put together. A constant reminder of both what she lost and what she's fighting for. Scald is the realest of reals. I guess my lesson is be true to who you are and what you're about. If even you won't stand for your own stated principles, then who will?
Harold says, yeah.
Hyrule
yeah.
speaks up and says, "Well
I'm
said."
gonna go
That's everyone but you, Quinn. You ready?
So Quinn responds to Hyrule asking if she's ready, and at this point, I'm just going to take over for all the NPCs. Sorry, it's me now, yoink. Yeah, I'll try to be. Okay.
Nefario still sound like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. She starts kicking at the dirt, right? She says, so Velt is your term for in love? And S smirks and says, well, it depends on the love. And Quinn looks awkward and squirms and says, well, if they're everything to you, what are they? And they share a capital L look with each other. And Joanne says, oh dear. And S asks Quinn how old she is. Quinn says she's 16, why? And S sucks in a breath through her teeth. Ooh, it's like the biggest thing in the world at that age. Hyrule's like, yeah, I remember being such a way myself. And Quinn says, I know I'm young, but please don't patronize me. I'm for real about this. Joanne says, well, look, nobody ever isn't. Just tell us using your words for now, and we'll take a walk after if we need to, okay? And Quinn nods and says, okay. So you said chosen names are how we are known, so I don't have many names. I go by default on the stream, so I guess that'd be my common name. But my chosen name is Quinn Riesling, and I don't like it. But like it or not, I am the daughter of Governor Vadim Riesling, the man Bren was talking about, and Irina Lebedev Riesling. That means I've never wanted for anything in my life except, well, true companionship and love. All my relationships, fake. My parents' affection for me, fake. All my friends, fake. Everyone who ever showed any interest in me, ever, fake. They were all Keela, I guess, right? Yeah, it sucked. I didn't meet a real person until my dad set me up here with y'all, the Hex Girls. And they've been real friends to me.
Yeah, he made a big mistake when he did that.
My first real friends. They're more than friends, actually. They're my real family. And they're not only out for themselves. They're out for me and them. And it's nice. It really is. I'm finally getting a taste of that thing I was missing. And all the wealth and influence and prestige in the universe can't buy you true love and companionship. Of course, all the true love and companionship in the universe won't keep a roof over your head or food on your plate, but I'm rambling. My point is, I wanted this, she gestures to y'all, more than anything. And I always get what I want, don't I? But I'm still so lonely. That's stupid. But please don't make fun of me. I want more than just friendship in my life. I want to expand my family by experiencing romantic love. Don't laugh! And I want it with one person in particular. That girl you call Kovanen. The girl, not the term. And maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe this is the thing I just don't get to have. Because it's her choice too, right? Maybe she doesn't want me, but I want to try and see if I can get it. I'm disowning, that's your word, right? Real hard on this potential for returned love from her, and I'm already so in love with her. It's silly. I barely know her, but I wanted to change the galaxy for everyone, and now I want to change the galaxy for her most of all. You say you were genocided, but there's only 74 of you left. You have so many enemies. You take all these chances to make friends. And she's in one of the most dangerous places I can imagine. She's still following Peor. But you should know, even though she's disowning with me for this Wero thing, from the conversations we've been having lately, she's utterly abandoned Joss. She doesn't think there's hope to be had anymore. She's just, I don't know, doing it because the alternative is Aegon or worse, Arath, and she doesn't want to become lost. She doesn't want to abandon the Ashai. But she has abandoned herself. Maybe you can guide her? And Ash says, look, I'm not in Ashai, but it sounds like you're already guiding her. And the Ashai nod in agreement. And Quinn says, but am I in it for me or for her? And Ash shrugs, says, well, I don't see why you can't be in it for both of you. Why does it have to be one or the other? And Quinn says, well, it doesn't, but I know who I am. And S actually speaks up. Like, she actually almost rises from her seat. Says, no, you know who you were. Now you see who you want to be. You were once a fake person. Only out for yourself, too. That's Yuta. But now you're trying to be... you're trying to be Kovanen. Kovanen, the term. It's a payor. It's a good thing to be. It's one of those payors I'm not sure can be done in excess. And Barrios says, well, that's a lot from you. And it says, don't make a big deal out of it. I'm just honoring the paint. And Hyrule says, I have advice for you, Quinn. You may not know what all the words mean to us. And there's certain terms we just can't define for you because they become terms we don't have the right to teach you. Or that you have to learn for yourself to be guided appropriately. But basically, all Ashai people understand sentiment and messaging. And will recognize a term even if you don't explicitly say it. Even if you don't know what you're saying it, even if you don't know you're saying it, because you're still technically saying it. Using the term is definitely more impactful, but the sentiment is enough for most of us. It'll definitely be enough for capital K Kovanen. She might not accept the sentiment. She might not return the sentiment, but she'll understand the sentiment. And so will we. Quinn says, so let it all out. And Joanne's amused. So you were holding back? And Quinn says, yes. And they look unnerved and like they kind of squirm a bit. But S says, well, rude. You're lucky we're in paint. Honor Elia, you rascal. And Quinn says, okay. Do the Ashai have a god or gods? And Hyrule kind of shrugs and says, maybe. I mean, in that we guide ourselves and each other and we have our principles, yeah, I guess in a badass way we're kind of our own deities, huh? And the Ashai kind of chuckle. And Quinn says, well, then here's my legend for you. I read this book once. It's not exactly parallel to your situation, but the book, there's a rabbit named Elarara, the father of all rabbits, and he pranked God, Frith, and all the other animals too much. So Frith blessed many animals to be predators of rabbits, and then went to Elarara to bless him as well, him and his. But Elarara had learned of the creation of predators, and he was kind of mad about that, understandably, so he told Frith to bless his ass. So Frith did. Took him literally. Gave him powerful legs, and him and his people, paws for digging, and a bright white tail, which is a mixed blessing, so his people can see him, right? But so can those enemies. And Frith said to Elarara, all the world will be your enemy, prince with 1,000 enemies. Whenever they catch you, they will kill you. But first they must catch you. Digger, listener, runner, prince with a swift warning. Be cunning and full of tricks, and your people shall never be destroyed. I don't think you did anything to deserve all these enemies you have. But it doesn't protect you from them. It doesn't make them not exist. In a galaxy full of infinite enemies, I want to be your ally. And I want to be more than that with Kovanen. She blushes. I feel like I belong with her. She's everything to me. And I want to do everything I can to find a way to be by her side. Joanne looks to the other two. He says, she's saying what I think she is, isn't she? And S responds with, she is. She is. And Hyrule says, Quinn, the term you don't know you're expressing, it brings back such memories. And Joanne says, we can't tell you this term because we want it for you. The only way you're getting it is if she's the one who says it. Not in sentiment, unfortunately, in her case, but the actual term. She'll say it in sentiment long before that, and she knows the term, but she's forgotten it, and we all kind of have. This term is nostalgia. It reminds me of before. And S says this term is something I lost. Everything was taken from me. And Joanne says it's not once in a lifetime. And S says it should be. And Joanne just sits there in pained silence, and Hyrule looks a little awkward and tugs at her collar and says, it's very big. It's going to scare her because of how big it is. Because of how young you both are, because of everything she's been through, because of her current situation, because of just so much. If you want to achieve this with her, you need 4 things. First, you need to be hers just as much as she's yours. Second, you need her to want it too. Third, you need her to choose it for herself. And finally, you need her chosen name. Because if you don't have that, you don't have a path to this without it. And Quinn says, oh, the first one has been done on my end for a long time. Her doing it on her end is only a thing she has control over, and even if she didn't have a control over it, I wouldn't want to force it. And those other 3 things aren't going to be any easier. And Ash says, well, nothing worth having is. And Hyrule looks to the rest of you. She says, how are y'all feeling?
Tired?
Yeah.
Drunk?
She nods. So she says, yeah, I think it's time for Jera. Jera's invoking that person will need to be excused from Elia. We all basically mutually invoke it and go about it, whatever. If you need to hang out a little longer with us and Elia, we're here for you. And Ness actually says, I'm not. Cannot bear to be around that sentiment. It's not your fault, it's theirs. I have no ill will towards you. Consider us Wero. What you expressed was taken from me. That's why I desire Wrath. Losing it destroyed me. I declare Siva, I'm going. Be well, Hex girls. She walks away. Now we're able to our feet.
Sylvia just watches her go and then looks back at the rest of the shine. She goes, were you serious about letting us keep the frame tweezers tonight?
Yeah, they're yours.
Sweet.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you later about how you did that thing with the paint. And now I am going to invoke Jera because I think I drank a little more than I was expecting.
We have homes in town.
Lyra, where are you? And she just kind of like crawls her way into Lyra's lap and passes it.
Yeah, Joanne says, they set up camp. They do have homes in town, but you've been camping before. We're going to camp. We're going to, chill out here. We got some tents. Harold's like, yeah, she's going to break out some tents, like set up some tents. We're going to camp out here, roast some marshmallows, drink, shoot the shit. So Hyrule does. She prints out like a bunch of tents and slams them down. Anybody else up to anything? Quinn's just like sitting there, like kind of like fidgeting, and she doesn't understand like why she upset them so much.
Bryn's gonna pat her on the shoulder and says, "I'll explain that part to you later."
Thanks, Dad.
He just kind of stumbles into a tent and just like flops into a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
I think Isadora is just gonna go and hang out at her mech.
Yeah.
Like you have your mech here, so you're.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just my normal mech.
Yep. Yeah. Joanne and like Ferio just kind of hang out because S is gone. Joanne doesn't not want to follow her because that's just he knows better at this point. Yeah. This I guess in the morning, Hyrule will come like check out your mech with you, Isadora, if that's okay. Like, she'll like creep over, be like yeah.
Yeah. So by the time she comes over, Isadora's probably just like hanging out on the arm of her mech, drinking.
Yeah. Isadora, Aloy, right? Aloe?
Aloe, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with a plant
It's a plant
out
from
here.
Old Earth.
She looks over. She looks over your mech with her hands like on her hips, and she says, "Ooh, yeah, it looks like it recovered. You got fixed up pretty quickly there. I'm so sorry I nailed you so hard. I was just trying to give you a little love tap. I wasn't expecting you to come apart like that."
It was a fight.
Yeah.
You did what you needed to do to win.
Yeah.
Which makes you a better pilot than most of the people we've fought, I suppose.
Everyone's always saying that to me. I just do what I do. It was an accident.
Bryn actually calls up his tent. Like, it's really hard to hit her.
Oh. Well, I guess I got lucky?
No. I haven't studied them closely, but those guns you're using are actually pretty well made.
Oh yeah, my namesake made them. The original Hyrule, the one who
see.
defined my honorific. If you want, and are you down for? Oh gosh, are you interested in some strange company with a non-stranger? Eventually, maybe.
Quite bold of you to assume you can just take my free time.
You are free to give it or not. I'll accept either way.
That wasn't a rejection, of course.
Cool. Good. Is it an acceptance then?
Perhaps. But I must admit, I'm curious about a few things. You mentioned you like fast mechs, yes?
Oh yeah, I like to go fast. I make mine really, really fast. Actually, she like clicks a thing and like the desert, like the camo, the jungle camo of her mech drops back off and they're back to those ugly colors. Technology. Again, my namesake stole from our enemies and made ours. It's optical camo, just lets our mechs look like however we want it to look. It's pretty neat.
That's impressive.
But yeah, as you can see, I could have just like gone really. I could have broken the sound barrier and just like hit you. Check this out. She like shows you the engine. It's like it's super overclocked. This is just disgusting.
Isadora's actually just unusually happy at seeing it.
Yeah, it's like it's real fast. She's grinning, and Quinn like shouts out, "You know, painting it red will make it go faster. Scientifically true."
It's not true.
Hyrule's got like the thinking emoji. I like these colors though.
You know, it's not often I speak to somebody about this sort of thing. It seems almost strange in most polite company, but I don't often get to speak to somebody with that same interest and speed. And Isadora just does like a handstand jump into her mech and activates it and just like bursts off.
Oh, it's a race. Like Hyrule understands immediately. She leaps in. I guess we're gonna have to do a pilot check. All right, I'm gonna roll her get somewhere quickly. I guess it's a contested roll. Only an 11. She does have her rebel background, but I'm gonna add to it, so it's a 15. She's being very rebellious as she tries to outspeed you. You're a pilot though, so you can 13. She just barely beats you.
So yeah, as they're flying, Isadora's just like, that we're a ways away. I have a bit of guilt. Every once in a while, I test this thing, and I have to admit there were a few times during missions I sort of lost myself when practicing. She's just saying that, like, weaving between trees.
Harris, this is you're talking of a different kind of loss than our loss, though, I hope.
Yes. This lost is more just a distraction.
Yeah, I get lost in that way too, but I've been lost the other way as well.
I see. And like, I think in the middle of this, they fucking like helix past each other, just like avoiding trees and one another.
Yeah, she actually starts telling you about how the Ashai have this concept for being really, really lost. Losing your connections, losing your hopes and dreams, and losing yourself. And she talks about how she knew this world that she really, really desired to have, that she wanted, but that it was lost. It was taken, and it took her with it. And that she became Kovanen with lostness, with being lost.
I
And
see.
she says that the girl that declared herself Kovanen, that they declared Kovanen, she'd been calling herself Aegon then. And Hyrule confesses to you that she had been doing so as well. So she presumed that she knew Kovanen, who was calling herself Aegon. And she says that Kovanen was a child, is still a child. And so she says, so I was worried when you said you were lost, because we have this concept among our people of being rushed or hurried. It's an Aegon thing, that the pace you're comfortable with should be the one you travel at, and to rush someone, including yourself, is a lost way. And Capital K Kovanen was rushed, in so many definitions of that term. And it was abhorrent to me. And I love to go fast, in many things. But there's a difference between going fast and rushing. So,
Indeed.
and it's like, so yeah, like you're speeding around, and like she's like she stops for a moment. She has to think for a moment. So she's really relieved that you were not rushed, right? You're
Yeah,
just
when she stops, I think like Isadora just sort of twirls up into the air and waits for her to start again.
yeah. And so she says that she believes that she was already with the lost, but she was left behind as the girl who's called Kovanen hurried away from her. Kovanen was rushed to a state where she just couldn't follow her, because Kovanen declared herself a Wrath. And Hyrule says that she followed her physically, but she just couldn't keep up with her spiritually, as Kovanen sank and sank. And then she says, like with kind of a really pained voice, that the spiritual and the physical should never be so severed. She says that she thought that she and Kovanen were connected by being lost. But she was horrified by how easily Kovanen embraced it, how seamlessly she adjusted, and that she just couldn't keep up. And that Kovanen lapped her, because all of a sudden she was declaring herself Kovanen. She made it look so effortlessly, while Hyrule was so afraid. And that took some adjusting.
Perhaps I too have been lost at times then. Lost by our definition.
She, like, you can't see her because, you're talking through your mechs, but she grimaces. Like, I guess you can kind of hear the grimace in her voice. And she tells you it's not a comfortable thing. It's like this feeling of being really, really disconnected. And you don't even remember who you are. How old are you really?
Let's see. It's not something I like to think about often. I believe 100. We'll say 100 early 20s.
She makes like that appreciative whistle. And she says, whew, time flies, huh?
Far too fast.
You got like 30 years on Bryn.
Yeah, and she says, whew, technically just 2 years older than me. How will I ever catch up?
I'll just spend some time without the blink gates. It's really that simple.
She laughs and she stops like racing you. She's good, right? She's gotta. It's like she grunts and says, "Yeah, I'd like to talk more." You doing anything later?
I suppose I could make time.
Cool.
Though, hearing the term lost, perhaps there are a few other things I should do with the rest of the Hex Girls as well.
I would
I'm to be
encourage it.
completely honest, maybe I am still lost in that way.
That's what I think happened with me. That those connections, I definitely wasn't trying to make them, but I accidentally made these connections with Capital K Kovanen and all my other Kovanens, it's a term, in that fight. And that's what brought me back. That's how I know that you can be brought back. And hearing Sylvia talk about, we believe that the Wrath is something that can't be brought back. Maybe that's why I'm so afraid of it. But hearing Sylvia, maybe there's hope. There's a chance. Just the sun, right?
I suppose that's all you can hope for.
Sometimes hope is all you get. She smirks. Like she gets out of her mech, right?
Mhm.
And she's like looking at, like admiring yours. It does go quite fast. I'm gonna help you soup up that engine, and then you can beat me.
Well, we'll only have to see about that, but... You know, I've been wondering about my role here. I'm the only person who's really touched hacking at all.
S is the one who's more knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. I'm more of a mechanical kind of person. Do the engineering kind of stuff.
Yep. I should get back to tuning this thing up. It's been too long. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, let's race again sometime, I hope. She grins. She says, adjustment? That's something I know. She searches for a word. Intimately? She smirks. I find it fitting the time dilates to adjust to speed. And eyes dilate to adjust to both light and darkness, and I dilate too to adjust.
God damn it, Tanner.
I thought I was too old to start changing again, and I was really, really, really exhausted. I wasn't sure I had it in me to start over, but that child left me in her wake, and showed back up at my side from behind me. And that moment I knew we were never connected by our mutual lostness. We were bound through that lowercase covenant. So I should tell you about the original Hyrule when you have time. She was a trickster who stole from our enemies to empower our people. She ingeniously improved upon their technology and weaponry with that knowledge that she stole, and she gave it in a shy twist, making it her own. She slaps her engine. This is her stuff. I learned it from her.
Yes, please don't add any more details. I want to hear the full thing.
Great. Maybe I'll show you around town. We'll hit it up. We'll talk. Cool. It's a date, maybe. No, maybe. I'm going.
We did it. 15 episodes. We finally met Fefner's girlfriend in this campaign.
Nah, they can break up. It's just a fling. It's fine.
So, there is one thing I want to do if we have a little bit of time before downtimes and stuff.
Yeah, we stop around 11:30, so yeah, we got quite a bit of time still.
Oh, beautiful. I have more than enough time to do the scene I want to try to do here.
Yep.
So, remember how Sylvia was, leaning over on Lyra?
Mm-hmm.
She waits until the party's kind of died down a little, and she kind of taps Lyra, and she goes, I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Cover for me if anyone asks. And she, as quietly as she can, gets in her hard suit, gets into the frame of what she's now calling the Diana. And she goes out. Remember how S left the group?
Yep.
Under Seva?
Mm-hmm.
She is very carefully going to try and walk out to where S is.
Alright, what would that be to try and find her? Is there's no tracking skill. I'll just say you find her. No need to roll dice.
I was going to say, in the absence of a tracking skill, she will just scan using Diana.
Let's just roll a take someone out roll. Go ahead and assassinate S before she becomes a problem.
Fair enough. I will take it.
No, I'm joking. Don't. No, you find her.
Don't kill my baby. He's dead. 23.
Goodbye, S. You find her.
Bloodlust cannot be sated.
Nothing personal. Comma.
She's annihilated instantly, and the entire plot line I had developed for her is over. That screen in Morrowind, right? You've killed that NPC who's important, and now you must live with the consequences. Pops up. Yep.
For persist a while in this doomed world.
Yep.
Oh no. She does not in fact kill S.
You do find her.
I should tear the character sheet in half.
And what I'd like to flavor that role as, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
she successfully does an assassin-style stalk and kind of just drops down. Bearing in mind, like, this mech is half size, so this thing is not that much bigger than Sylvia in just her hard suit. Just kind of just silently drops out of the tree behind her, and then she gets out of the chassis and she says, I know you wanted to be alone there, but do you have a minute?
For you, I have all the time in the world.
I was hoping you'd say that. I was going to apologize for ignoring that goodbye you gave us earlier, but with all due respect, I'm not a shy, and I'm not about to.
You didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing to apologize for. Join me. As you are, please, not as we were.
Absolutely. And Sylvia kind of, settles down the Diana down. She does not fully take off her hard suit, but she does kind of strip some of the armoring over her torso, basically the bits that she doesn't need for mobility. Because she is going to remain standing while talking. And she just goes, I had things I wanted to talk to you about while I was listening to your story, but now that I'm out here, I have one question, and I'm hoping it's the same question that's on your mind. Do you want to fight?
Yeah. We should probably get it out of our system, shouldn't we?
Oh, I'm really glad you said that. All right. I'm gonna warn you, I don't really know any martial arts that aren't the CQC I was taught while I was learning. So.
She doesn't know what CQC means, but she's not aware of that meme.
I apologize.
It does stand for something, Jenner. She
Oh,
could explain it.
Combat training. Yes. She just kind of like raises her fists up. She's like, so we go until standard Valley Judo. We go until someone taps, breaks, or goes out of the ring. The ring is about this circle of trees wide.
Yeah, I'm gonna aim for a ring out. Let's do this. It's good that you understand how to speak in the language in which we are fluent, the most fluent.
Yep. And Sylvia just starts sparring with her.
Yeah, we're just gonna do a contested roll. She's gonna roll with assault. Oh no. And she's gonna add
take someone out.
Yep.
And I'm gonna claim my background here because this is
gosh! Oh no, S!
That's a 25.
Oh, good.
Nice. 27.
Yes, nice. Oh, it's good.
So, can I describe what Sylvia does here?
Yeah, go ahead. That was really close, though. Wow.
Yeah. So as they're coming in, she lets S come to her.
Mm-hmm.
And right before S goes to do whatever her first strike is, Sylvia elbow blocks and then just throat shots her.
Nice.
Just punch to the throat and then clap to the side of the temple. And like when she goes down to the ground, Sylvia just kind of like looks down and goes like, so round 2, or are you good?
S laughs and like gets back on her feet and says, 2 out of 3.
Yep.
So we'll do it again.
Yep.
S, you're failing. 17. Oh wait, no, that's sorry. That's a 1d6. Sorry, it's not. It's a 7 plus 4, 8, 9, 10. So it's 11, right? Yeah, just an 11. You definitely getting her that ego damage. And 11. They're evenly matched. Nice. So how does this play out? Because you were the player, so you get to describe. I don't describe.
I think what happens here is Sylvia goes for another knockout blow this time, and S is wise to her.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of gets out of the way, gets some distance, starts like trying to sweep the leg, and Sylvia just eventually goes for broke, goes in for a grapple, and just falls on top of her, and they end up in an awkward mildly homoerotic wrestling for about 2 minutes.
Sexy tussle.
Like, all right, want to call that around?
Yeah, S last. Like this is like that was a tie, like the standstill, right? you fought like to a standstill. So like, okay. She's laughing. She's enjoying it.
Yep.
She gets back up. She like helps you up because she knows like you're not, yeah. And she's like, all right. This is the last one. Here we go.
All right.
One more time.
Let's see how we do.
Oh no.
Dang. 19 versus 11.
Oh yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So
Not 23.
yeah, she. So I mean, again, how does she get you? She does just want to ring you out, right? That was her goal. So what's she doing here?
Yeah. Sylvia, like, I think Sylvia like goes for a hold, and this time, how do the Ashai do close quarters combat? Like, do they have? Does she have like CQC training that's like military in nature? Do the Ashai practice any martial arts?
Yeah, I mean, like they do have like close quarters, but they prefer to use short spears. So like they which we'll get to in a moment, but yeah. So she does know, but they're more like grapples and pulls. I guess like grapples and slams, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I think what she does is she actually just, when Sylvia goes in for her hit, she sweeps low, grabs her by the waist, and just lifts her up bodily and
Suplexes her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just slams her down. And Sylvia just looks up like, oh, well, damn.
Yeah,
And she goes, all right.
She settles in. It says one you, one me, one even. Let's say we're equals.
I like that. And Sylvia puts out a hand, and I'm assuming S helps her up.
S helps her up, and she looks around, like really looks around. Says, "Can they hear us?"
I tried to make sure that no one knew where I was going.
She smiles. What's your whole name?
I go by Sylvia Renard.
My name is Nestrin Sayer. My chosen name is Nestrin Sayer. She shakes her hand. Yeah, she grins. Don't without my consent. If you say it culturally, we eat your name and you become Huta. So it's just between you and me.
I don't have any intention of talking about what goes on here.
So now what?
I mean, I could keep going, but honestly, I think if we keep it up all night, we're either just going to keep fighting, or this is going to turn into something that would be really awkward to tell Lyra about in the morning.
What is Quinn to you? She says your family is that true?
She's like a kid sister to me.
Like or is?
Well, depends on what you mean by that. We don't have any blood relation, if that's what you mean.
Nope.
Do I think her as my kid sister? Absolutely.
Then yeah, she's your sister. That's how we work too.
Well, in that case, Quinn's my kid sister. And I'll beat the shit out of anyone who does anything wrong, anything bad to her.
She and I need to have a talk. That term she expresses. It's dangerous if it's not reciprocal.
Probably. Everything about what she's doing right now is dangerous.
Yeah, she's...
The only reason I haven't stopped her myself is that I know exactly what I was like at that age, and I wouldn't have been able to stop me either.
She nods and says, yeah, same. She's following...
And Quinn is better at everything than I was at my age.
She's following...
She's actually really good, and I'm not going to tell her that to her face, because I'm scared it will go to her head.
You don't... Yeah, she's following that trail we accidentally blazed for her. I gotta get her off of it. I guess we're teaming this.
What are we actually doing here?
Gosh, if I knew how to set it right. I got this way on accident.
No one... We talk a lot about who we become, who we choose to be, all that. The truth is, I don't think people get to choose who they are, and we can make the most of it. But a lot of times, we are who others choose to make us.
I don't
I
want
didn't
to.
know where I went, and neither did you.
I do not want. I understand. I see your terms, and I'm not asking you to meet on mine. I recognize the way you see it. Well, at least I can't speak for all of us. I see it differently. The true person doesn't change, but you become more aware of who they are as you explore yourself and become more familiar with yourself. It's not so much that you change, so much as you find out who you really were.
Well, that says a lot of things about me. I'm not sure I'm really ready to talk about.
Yeah, same.
I thought I'd get along with you.
Once you go that far, it's hard to accept. I think for me, all those I believe, I do, that your friends, your comrades, they did forgive you. As I believe the same for those friends of mine that I took down. I need to believe it. I need it to be true. So it is. I will it to be true. I yearn for it. It's a term amongst us, this decisive will. It makes it true. We know it for certain.
I hope you're right about that.
Yeah, me too.
We've only got a couple of days left on this planet, but you and I need to stay in touch.
Yeah, I got that matchmaker. I'll print it out. I'll keep in touch. We're family now. You know my chosen name.
True. And you know the only name I've ever had. Oh, I never did tell you my call sign. I don't think I've ever used it. It's Hellcat.
Ah.
Yeah,
Hell.
we all forgot about that really quickly, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hell.
You all are going to be very mad when I tell you what Sylvia does with the Diana.
Mm-hmm.
So Sylvia just kind of leans back against the Diana, which she is just barely named, kind of like, sweating, very bruised, kind of trying to think about what she's going to say to Lyra and the others when she gets back. Because she's kind of sitting there going like, we are not going to be able to actually disguise the fact that we've been in a fight, are we?
No, they got the optical camo. They'll give you that tech. You can absolutely hide the fact that you've been in a fight.
No, they've been punching each other, Jenner.
Oh, the physical fight. Right. Sorry. Brain bad. S laughs and says, well, don't. Well, but I can tell you, the shy will take it well. They know what happened here. Your friends, they might get a little more rankled by it.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Look,
Yep.
I appreciate that you're trying to look out for Quinn. For Kovanen, too. I don't know her nearly as well as any of you do, but she seems like a good kid, and I have no idea how she ended up, by what injustice she ended up where she is right now, but if I could, I would personally carve her a path out of it.
I believe that is what Quinn is trying to do. And it is what we want to do as well. I think I know what Kovanen needs, having learned from you. Kovanen is staying where she is because she wants her people to get out. She doesn't see a way for them to get out while she's not there. About 52% of us are Arath. We're so upset, we lost ourselves in rage. Deliverance have militarized that, and they use them as a weapon to purge worlds. We need to get the Arath and Ashai back into the fold, and I think you may have just unlocked the way.
I don't know how, but I appreciate it if I did, and I hope it's some good to you.
She nods. We owe you if it works.
Well, All I can say is, if that is something I've done, maybe it makes up for the fact that right now I'm only alive because so many other people aren't.
That's what it means to be a survivor.
But it is.
Well, let me break the fourth wall here a little bit. I will tell you the story of Capital Keiko Vannon in a pilot log because we're taking too long.
Indeed. And on that note, Sylvia, winding down that conversation, Sylvia just kind of gets back into Diana, shakes out. She goes, "So, for the record, let me borrow some of that optical text sometime."
Oh, we already sent it to Quinn.
Perfect. I'm going to have some fun with that.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'm apparently not going anywhere after all.
I'm actually really glad to hear that. If you ever need a sparring partner, and I'm anywhere near your neck of the woods geographically, you give me a call and we'll go as many rounds as our bodies can take.
You know what? Let me send you a different diagram. She plays with her PDA and she shoots you over the diagram of the spears they use. If you want, print it up. It's Hyrule's namesake made it.
Sylvia just whistles. She goes yeah.
These things look lethal.
She just whistles because I like it.
They got hydraulics in them, so slam out, and they can just pierce through armor. These things don't fuck around.
Slack spear, you can fit so much impaling damage
Yep.
in this baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I'm imagining, hey Jet, I don't know if any of us have seen this, but this dude on YouTube made a baseball bat that he loaded blanks into, so when he hit a ball, it would just send it flying. I'm imagining that's how these things operate. There's
Yep. Yeah. These things are that's why when Jeff in the Halloween episode you were like, it breaks. I'm like, you don't understand what they've done to these things.
Yeah. And on that note, Sylvia actually does leave one thing behind for S, and it's her chain axe.
Ah, nice.
Rather than leaving the full blueprint, because that's a license she has from IPSN, and there's presumably stuff that prevents her from just transferring it.
Mm-hmm.
She just leaves her the actual physical thing to be taken apart and read through, and tells her all the mods she's done to it, because thanks to the whole overpower caliber thing, there are mods. It works pretty similarly in terms of that little burst of that little on impact burst to the spear. So it is entirely possible to kind of reverse mod for them, hopefully. And it's this is probably something you guys could have gotten your hands on already, but I don't feel comfortable taking this and not sharing something with you in return to show my appreciation.
She grins and she says, I'm going to show this to Hyrule, and this thing's going to get super obscene real fast.
I like the sound of that. And Sylvia dashes away in the Diana, once again, kind of trying to hang low.
All right,
and back to the group before they anyone starts asking awkward questions.
Yeah, does anybody else want to do any role play with any of these really cool NPCs before we just do our downtimes in the morning?
I think I'm good.
All right, so just in general, I'm awarding you all one free downtime of Get Connected. You know the Arath Lance now. That's all of these NPCs. You can call on them anytime as a connection to get something done for you. So just add that as a downtime, just as if you had rolled perfectly, like a 20 in the stat. So just go ahead and take that as a downtime action. You all have it as a connection.
Right. Now, quick question. You said we leveled up last time, so everybody's at level 8?
Yeah, everyone's at 8 now.
Alright, because I'm only just leveling up now, because I didn't know what I was actually going to do with this.
Yeah. So, yeah, they take you out of the town after you're done camping. They pack up the things to show you where they actually do live. They live, they have a couple houses. They actually live in the town. They've been stationed here, and there's no base here. They've integrated into the town. All right. And, They show you where like the good bars are, you know, the fun places to hang out. Hyrule's like laughing and like to stay away from that bar. It's gentrifier crap. She spent all night. She looks very tired. She did not sleep. Like Ash and Fario had to drag her kicking and screaming out of the matchmaker last night and get her. She got maybe 2 hours of sleep. She knows so much more bullshit now.
Visitor is actually going to take note of this.
Mm-hmm. And so she'll show you like clubs, the bars, the fun places. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. She takes you out to like the ranches and shows you the goats. Check this out. She honks and the goats hop over and she laughs. They just do it. Anyway, that's what. Yeah, that's why we had to beat up the Skybane. It was eating them too much. I'm gonna protect these goats. They don't get the Skybane doesn't get to eat all of them. They're too damn cute. Yeah. Yes, but yeah. So there's places you can basically do any downtime action here. They show you all places you can go to, like meet people, workshops, things like that. So you can do any downtime action here in the small town.
All right.
So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
What do I want to do for this? I want to prepare for having to go back to see Bryn's fiance.
Yep.
Somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do here. Maybe buy some time.
Mm-hmm.
To try to keep the other, because there are obviously other mercenary groups and such out there.
Yeah.
So let's just actually no, I don't want to do that. Actually, let's just do get connected.
Okay, another get connected. Nice.
So I'll add reading situation to this because I have +4 on that now. 16, pretty good. So what I'm thinking is I want to get basically get an in with someone like on that planet that will be able to help if I need it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably maybe another mercenary group or something, some martial group, not like the bureaucracy or nothing. I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm gonna force you to world build. You get to invent what you found. Okay, later. Have fun.
Okay. Yep.
I've done too much world building. I'm very tired. You do it. Your turn.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll think about it. That's fine.
I guess who wants to go next? Lyra, you want to go next?
Yes. I mean, there's only one thing I'm going to do here, and it's get a damn drink.
Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally just exited the thing. No. Someone roll me a dice.
Sure.
Yeah. What's your plus?
What do you want me to roll?
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
Plus
4.
Plus 4. Okay.
+4.
Yep.
Okay.
You got 14. So that is on a get a damn drink of 14. It's a slight success if I remember correctly. Let me take a look at it.
Yeah, it's you win one, you lose one.
Yeah, win one, lose one. Fefner usually does this, but Fefner's not here to do it. So yeah, you get a good reputation, friend or connection, useful item or piece of information or a convenient opportunity, but you lose a good reputation, a friend or connection, a useful item or piece of information or a convenient opportunity. So, what would you like?
I'd like to gain a useful item or piece of information and lose a convenient opportunity.
Sure, sounds good.
I think that Lyra's been trying to but still continuing her quest to create the ultimate mech simulator, and I think she finally gets some of the pieces she's been looking for. But unfortunately, what she gets so fixated on that while talking to people that she misses out on someone who could have just like given her the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
without having to build it.
Yep. Cool. Yep. Sure. Sounds good. All right. I guess.
okay.
Sylvia, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Sylvia's going to do this role is best done is buy some time.
Mm-hmm.
So Sylvia technically still has that thing out for her.
Mm-hmm.
The whole the bounty on her head,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows who posted it now. She knows Smart Brain posted it.
Mm-hmm.
And using what she backlog kind of found while she was doing gather information last time, she is going to contact Smart Brain and basically go, I know you're looking for me. And honey, if you think, and I also know that you guys do not have the resources to have.
You just copy paste the Navy SEAL speech, right? No, don't.
I am actually I have actual connections now, and you already know what I'm capable of because I left it evidence of it, and that's why you posted this.
Mm-hmm.
So back the fuck off.
Nice.
She's gonna try and to scare them into temporarily at least taking down their hit on her.
Yeah, you
This
spam.
is a different strategy than Bryn took that
Yep.
other time he did this for you.
Yep.
Yeah, and at least letting them rely on, at least forcing them to rely on whatever they have left in house rather than hiring mechs from across the galaxy to hunt her.
You spam them the fuck around to find out meme about 20 times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I get it. Just get it.
I'm gonna roll this with Threaten, which is +6.
Nice.
And may I invoke my background here because this is specifically Sylvia's favorite fucking enemy.
Yeah, go ahead.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
wow.
6.
You're rolling really well.
Alright, so you buy as much time as you need, so
Yep.
Alice doesn't need to put any NPCs in the next mission.
Yeah, you buy
Of
as,
those variety
you get as much as you need. They are shook, as they say, as the vernacular.
Sylvia literally just goes, I think the time, as much time as she needs here, is basically indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
So if they send it, I don't think this will stop them from sending anyone after her forever, but realistically, I think she has enough, big fucking I'm coming for honey, you've got a storm coming energy.
Yep.
That they at least take down the public notices and retract them.
Yep.
So she's no longer, openly wanted.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Bryn, do you want to go next?
I already went.
Yeah.
Do your organization roll.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's +6 now.
Do some networking while we're here.
I have them both maxed out. So
Yeah,
it's really
just
hard
roll
to fuck
+6.
up.
Nice.
15. That does nothing, but it doesn't take anything away.
Hooray!
Nice.
We're
All right.
stable.
All right, Isadora, what are you doing? What's your downtime?
I don't know if I have a specific activity. However, I'm going to find Quinn,
Yep.
and I'm going to be like, so, what have you been working on?
In terms of a lot, so much. She looks tired and also a little on edge.
The reason you're losing sleep.
Yeah, the thing I shared with Yashai, the thing I sent you the diagrams to, the matchmaker.
Would you be comfortable having some help on that?
I'll take all the help I can get.
Good. It doesn't feel great watching you not sleep like this, so anything I can help with, I will.
Thanks, Isadora. It means a lot to me. I know this isn't easy for you. Let me show you what I've been working on. So Ryland sent me, the 9 things that are one thing, sent me this code, and I can't quite get it to integrate with the machine. It's weird. It's using, I'm learning the code, and it's acting as if it can code organic life, and you can't code organic things. So I don't understand this code.
Alright, well, I guess guess I'll have to take a crack at it then. So, yeah, in lieu of having, like, a downtime thing for myself, because I can't really think of anything,
Why don't we
will
call this a
help you out
get
with your thing.
focused? Why don't you call this a get focused roll? Add two
Okay.
to a skill, right? You're getting focused. You're becoming more skilled as Quinn teaches you, and you can spend those get focused on more hack or fix or whatever, right? Yeah, because that's basically what Quinn's gonna do too. Well, Quinn is like hunched over you, like looking at this weird code that Ryland made. That is like, I'm just gonna code human beings as if that is a thing that you can do. I'm gonna pseudo into human beings. It's like, current Ryland, you can't do that. S actually shows up and joins you looking over that code, and she's like, what the fuck? You can't code people. So she starts helping you too. But then she gets a glint in her eyes as she figures it out. And she says, oh, shit. Who is this leaving these Ryland comments? And Quinn's like, gosh, what they call themselves? She calls herself Garat. Svava rescued them from Vilan. They are like a thing together. Oh, it's just like, oh, they're psionic. Ah, fuck. Oh God, she's like freaking out. I got this. She takes the code. She says, I got this. Don't worry. And she talk to me later. And she rushes off. And Quinn's like, what? So yeah, Quinn's like, okay, I guess we'll work on something different then. But yeah, so Quinn's also going to get focused. I'm going to add skill points to Quinn so I can put more skills on her, because she's going to need them for that Halloween episode. Yeah.
I think get focused, especially you have to make up a thing.
No, you can put it. You don't have to make up a thing. You can actually put it in a normal skill, or you can make up a new skill. Yeah.
That's fine because I
didn't
do that either. So it's okay.
So yeah, I guess that'll be. Quinn does hand it off to you, say whatever you can find out. So, whatever you want to make up with me, Faf. We already know how this thing turns out. Yeah, Isidora's not part of it. And Quinn says better go talk to her, and I'll share what she says to S in a pilot log. But how that conversation goes is S confirms that Quinn actually is determined with Kovanen and that it is reciprocal. And that it's inescapable, because even trying to not be it is an expression of it. So, that's a thing. And I guess that's the end of the session. Anybody have any final things they want to do?
Do we want to go over level ups? Or do we want to just call this a session?
If you want to go for level ups, it's fine. Hyrule's totally going to try and booty call Isidora, but we don't have to do that on screen. So... Hyrule will tell you about Capital K Kovanen, and she'll tell you the story of her namesake, and also try and sleep with you. But we don't have to do that on camera. Anyway.
Also would like to line up here that Sylvia is going to have a very awkward conversation with Lyra, where she just takes her side and goes, "Bad news, hun. I met someone else who's just as big of a fight slut as we are."
Yep, we got 3 messy fight sluts.
The world is very big and full of such wonderful things.
Yeah.
Rule number 1: don't talk about the Fight Slut Club.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Bryn explains to about why that one person was stormed off at the end of the thing.
Oh yeah, what do you tell her? Because Quinn's tired, but she'll listen.
No, it's based. Well, it's probably this morning.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know the things you're feeling right now about Kovanen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine if that was all ripped away from you, very suddenly.
She doesn't. She looks like, ooh, that's a bad thing that you just made her imagine.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Ooh, shit. I should probably apologize.
I think in this case it's probably best if you just don't. You were not wrong about talking about your own feelings, and you could not have known that someone else would have been affected by that. You can say something, but I wouldn't go into detail. You just just apologize and just hey, I'm sorry that I think I said made you feel bad, and then leave it at that.
Yeah.
Didn't
What?
give you a whole thing.
Well, Dad, that's not a proper apology. You can't. I'm sorry you got offended. It's not a good apology, but I get what you're trying to say.
No. Well, yes. Sorry.
No, you're fine, Dad. I got it.
I would say, damn it, but I gotta do this every time.
She laughs and she grins and she hugs you and she says, "Thanks, Dad."
Yeah. Just what I'm saying is just don't drag this thing out again. Is
Yeah.
really all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll be careful. Thank you. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Look, we're gonna sort this out with your ex-fiance. Do you? I mean, she's 80 now. You're probably not into that.
That's not the tack I would be taking on this one. Thank you.
She chuckles and she says,
I understand that you got romance on the brain, but you don't need to impose that in every other situation that's ever
"Yeah,
happening.
yeah." She accepts it. She's like, "Yeah, sorry, you know."
Like I was saying before, sometimes things just don't work out, and that happens. But there's not always gonna happen like that.
Well, I'm gonna see what I can do, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and if it does work out, it does work out, and yeah, I mean, I don't even care if I turn up with her or not anymore. I just want her the fuck away from Deliverance.
I think that's a more achievable goal than the one you had before. So I approve of that.
She nods.
Which is full luxury automated gay space communism.
Mm-hmm. Let's get her out of there together.
Alright.
Yep. Alright. I guess that'll be the end of that. I'm gonna stop the recording in 3.
Wait,
What? Oh, level ups. Do your level ups.
All right, so I guess I'll go first since I mentioned it. All right, so thanks to this session, I figured I'd go down speed path. So
You gotta go fast.
I got to get somewhere quickly, so that maxes it out at a +6 now.
Mm-hmm.
I took the move Spotter 2, which is, not quite speed focused, but that gives me, at the end of your turn, if you did not move and took the lock on quick tech action, you may lock on once as a free action. Additionally, when you lock on, you may learn your target's armor, speed, evasion, e-defense, mech skills, and current HP, and can share this information with allies. So
Yep.
extremely good for the goldenrod, pretty good for everything else, because it's just like, oh, I locked on. Give me stats, please.
Yeah, you gotta remind us about Spotted 1, too, because that's really useful.
When allied characters adjacent to me attacks a target and consumes lock on, they may roll twice and choose either result, which, to be fair, y'all haven't really needed that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that's roll twice on the d20.
Yeah, but still, you haven't needed it anytime.
It's true. Trying to decide what to. I guess I forgot to level up Quinn because I was busy writing all this gay dialogue.
I'll go pretty quick because
Hold on a sec. I'm not done yet. So next off, I actually removed one systems because it didn't take away any SP, and then put +2 agility so I could max out agility. So yeah, that's just evasion +6, speed +3.
Cool.
So let me just check Duskwing real quick.
Nice.
Speed 9, evasion 20. You literally have to crit in order to hit me.
Nice.
In the Duskwing.
Nice.
Disgusting.
So good.
So as long as nobody has reliable, I'm good. Otherwise, I'm boned.
You're a glass cannon.
Yep.
At this point.
Yep.
Except you're not really a cannon either.
Yeah. She hits pretty hard, but she rolls well.
She's not getting Lyra.
Yeah.
Big
that's true. She's not doing Lyra or default damage, but.
That being said, I forget if I mentioned Hacker 3 last time. Did I?
No, you did not. Are you gonna? You can hack the Gibson now.
Yeah, that's the full tech where I basically just implant a virus that makes somebody take burn equal to their heat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I can inflict heat, so.
Yep. High five.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Last, I think I took. Yeah, I took Morning Cloak 1, that license. Which just gives me the Fold Knife, which is just a melee weapon that lets me teleport 2 spaces away if I get a crit with it. It's also got accuracy and Vijaya rockets, which is 1d3 explosive damage. It's accurate. It's got 5 range, so kind of I'm a bit meandering. I don't particularly need any licenses at the moment, so I'm just, doing whatever.
Basically working towards another core bonus.
Yep.
at this point.
All right.
Yep.
Jeff, do you want to go next? Do yours?
Yeah, I'll go quick. I got another point in hull to get that 2, so I'm 2, 2, 2, 4 now. I'm nice and well-rounded. Got more HP.
Round boy.
Yeah, I took another 2 points in reader situation, so that's 4 now.
Mm-hmm.
And the license, I just took another HA license so I can work towards a core bonus. That's really it.
Nice.
I did nothing about my change this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm
Okay.
done.
Sylvia?
All right. So going up to level 8, Sylvia just decided to go the opposite route. She will not be round. She will only be like specialized.
She thinks.
I'm the Mario.
Sylvia only has exactly 4 pilot skill triggers, and all of them are at +6 now. Because she's finally up to +6 on Hacker Fix. And she's up to +6 on Threaten, up to +6 on Pick Someone Out, up to +6 on Read a Situation. Which seems appropriate, honestly. In terms of her tactical profile, it's really fitting that she gave you all her backstory because instead of going down any of the trees I'm already on, most of which were maxed anyway, I took the first part of the Spaceborne tree.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep.
High 5.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So all of her mechs now have built-in EVA capability, so she will never suffer penalties when operating under 0G environments.
Yeah, that's a free SP right there.
It's actually more than that, because as a quick action, you can shut power into this component to fly 3 spaces and take heat equal to your mech size +1.
Nice.
Although you must land at the end of this movement or fall, which basically just means she gets to replace jump jets.
Nice.
Yep. I love being able to just ignore rules. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's pretty nuts. In terms of like what she got for her mech, she literally canceled her license she canceled the 3rd license in Metalmark and the random license she had in Drake to get all 3 licenses at once for the Atlas. So that half-size mech she was in last time is just her mech now. It is very cool. It has a lot of random abilities that just basically translate to, if she's fighting a bigger opponent, she gets an obscene advantage. As a reaction, she can take half damage whenever she gets hit by a larger character from any attack, which is distinct from bracing in that it doesn't cost her an action on her next turn. Only works on the 1 attack, though. She counts as size 1 for ramming and grappling. She always ignores engagement from characters, can freely move through and share spaces they occupy.
Nice.
If she's occupying the same space as any character, she gains soft cover even from the character whose space she is currently occupying.
Nice.
Because she's just like hiding under their. She's just like dodging under their legs.
I think it's gonna be cute because like I'm gonna put Quinn in a Barbarossa so Sylvia could just like tuck in under the 16-year-old girl and be like, yeah. It's so
Surprise,
good.
motherfucker. She gets to deal +1d6 bonus damage against a prone target. Downside of this is she does have +1 difficulty on all engineering checks and saves. Boo-hoo, I'm so sad. I hope no one ever gets with her.
Yeah.
And also she gets the Terashima Blade.
Nice.
Which is an obscene melee weapon that has like 4 different things it does. And I don't even know if I should go into all of them because there's 4 different stances here, and they all change the damage profile. It costs system points to equip this weapon, so
Sylvia sighed as she unsheathed her katana. While we were getting laid, she studied the blade.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, she can make it inaccurate and make it armor piercing. She can make it do splash damage to adjacent characters.
Yes.
She can penalize people for missing attacks.
Good shit. Nice.
And she can just make it reliable and give it knockback too, and bonus movement off it. So basically, this sword does fucking everything. I love it.
It's a Ginsu
Also,
knife.
her evasion is now 20,
Knife.
which is
Nice.
gross.
Nobody can hit us.
Yeah.
I'm
Unless
officially.
they extremely do.
Yep. I got-
Isadora and I officially joined the Dodge Tank Club together.
Yep. All right. I think
I
I.
should correct you, however.
Yeah, black point and agility. So now Isadora goes fast, but Sylvia will also go fast.
Should correct you that Sylvia studied the blade and also got laid.
It's true. She's able to do
She is
both.
the Vegeta of this universe.
I'm gonna go next, and then I guess Alice will go last. So
Atlas, like from the Long Rim
mhm.
expansion.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's fitting.
Yep.
Yeah, incredibly.
All right. So
I've been waiting for this.
I said it at the end of last session, but this session, Quinn spent 21 days falling in love with her girlfriend, who's absolutely not her girlfriend, and her entire skill set changed. She's changed as a person, like narratively. I have read a situation now, if you remember. I was like, hey, guess what? I'm never taking it. I was lying. Now she needs to be able to read her not girlfriend so that they stop miscommunicating. So she's got read situation at +6 now. Additionally, she's got charm, get hold of something, invent or create, investigate, and assault at +4 now, thanks to Sylvia. She's been learning how to fight with Sylvia. She's also started to play friends with you all. You're gonna love this. Guess what? That trait that she had that kept blowing you all up and pushing you around and knocking you down, she's not doing it anymore. I don't have it anymore. Siege, the oppression of Siege Technician is gone. We have been liberated from the oppression of Siege Technician.
I'm so happy.
She's a team player now. She's got Tactician all the way, Infiltrator all the way, Spotter all the way, and Skirmisher too. She's learning to play with the team. She can spam lock-ons now. And so she's going to be a lot more helpful to you all in battle. Instead of just doing her own thing, she's covenanting with you now. And of course, you know, she took her license. She doesn't have to keep licensing up in the Kobold. She paid her debt. So now she decided, I want to be big. She put a point in Barbarossa. I'm going to get her a Barbarossa. I'm going to drop this 16-year-old girl in the biggest mech in the game.
You know, Janet, you could just get that now. You have that option.
Yeah, but I don't trust me. This is for look. I'm progressing at the speed of narrative. Okay, I know I could just rewrite her sheet.
I really should know better.
Yeah, I know I should rewrite her sheet, right? But I know what's coming, and just have some faith that I'm doing exactly how it needs to go, exactly how it needs to. So yeah, Quinn's new Quinn. Who this? This is a different girl. That she's not here to be. She's here to make friends, y'all. How about you, Alice?
So, so Lyra got a little bit in Rita's situation. She is finally learning to pay attention to the world around her. But more importantly than that, she picked up the 3rd level in Bonded, which she is bonded with Sylvia, which means anytime that someone tries to attack Sylvia, she you can spin your Overwatch to threaten the attacker, forcing them to either choose a different target or attack anyway. If they attack someone else, nothing happens. If they try to attack your bonded person anyway, you can immediately attack them with Overwatch as long as they are within range, and the attack resolves before their attack.
Mm-hmm.
And she just picked up the 2nd thing of Atlas so that she could have an Atlas.
Nice. Atlas buddies.
Atlas.
Yep. All right. I guess that's everybody's level ups, right?
Yep.
Okay, then we are done with stuff that happens on camera. Thank you everybody we'll see you for Halloween, Jenner Halloween, a very special Jenner Halloween. It's actually called Samhain, folks. It's a completely different holiday. We'll talk about that next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.